Life is a journey,
not a destination.
And you don't need to go it alone.
Join me for practical tips and strategies on using mindfulness techniques and creating mindset shifts that can reduce stress, improve productivity, and give you a fresh perspective on work and life.
This is a Candy Factory Mini.
Mastering the Mindful Mindset
with José Johnson.
Hi, and welcome to the very first episode of Mastering the Mindful Mindset. I'm your host, José Johnson. Look, I know that your time is valuable, so what I intend to do every week is to give you practical tools and techniques to tap into the powers of your mind so that you can make the most out of life in the shortest amount of time possible. Now, a lot of people think that mindfulness means that you have to be uber chill, laid back, totally zen. Well, that's part of the picture, but it's not the whole story. See, while mindfulness techniques can be used to downshift your brain, they can also be used to rev up your productivity and creativity. And another common misconception people have when they hear the word mindfulness is they usually think that it means meditating for hours. Well, that's not necessarily true. It's actually quite possible to shift your mental state in 90 seconds or less, and I'm going to share a couple of my favorite techniques with you today. But before we go any further, let me explain to you a little bit about my unique approach to mindfulness. See, I've been involved with the practice of mindfulness in one form or another for most of my life. I've spent the last 3 decades researching and teaching various methods of Chinese martial arts, energy arts, philosophy, and mindfulness techniques. And having taught literally thousands of people of all ages from around the world, I became a little bit obsessed about finding a better way to help people get the results they needed. See, lots of people came to me because they were in need of immediate change in their lives. They were so stressed out that they were having heart attacks or strokes. Often it was someone who had a lot of responsibility that was on the verge of nervous collapse. They didn't have years to get things under control. They couldn't just run off to some cave in a mountain to become one with the universe. They needed a practical solution, and they needed it now. And that's what led me to dive headfirst into the study of neuroscience and psychology to help me better understand how and why the ancient traditions work. It's given me the ability to differentiate the process from the dogma. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with following any of those traditions. And if you have the time and the ability to meditate for 6 hours a day, like one of my teachers does, well, God bless you, because most of us don't have that luxury. And that's why I'm here with you today on this broadcast. My goal is to demystify the mystical and simplify the scientific. I want to strip away as many barriers as possible between you and your ability to master a mindful mindset. So if you're a little on the woo-woo side, I'll give you the science behind your practice. And if you don't know your prefrontal cortex from your amygdala, I'll help you understand how the brain works and how to get your mind to work for you and not against you. So to get started, here are the first few things that you'll need to understand. First off, your brain controls everything. It controls all of your metabolic processes. It controls all of your actions. It controls how you see yourself and the world around you. But we have to make the distinction between your brain and your mind. Your brain is that big lump of gray tissue in your head. Your mind is your brain in action. Now, some people like to compare the brain to a computer, and while that's not exactly the right analogy to use, it's one most people will understand. So if we run with that, your brain is the hardware. It's the processors and the wiring and all the little electronic doodads that are stored in the case that we call your cranium. Your mind is your brain in action, and that is driven by your software. The software is what tells the hardware what to do. It gives the brain commands, and then it takes the work that the hardware has done and gives it back to you in a format that you want. It's kind of like creating a PDF versus an MP3. When we experience problems, they can be from one of two sources, either the hardware or the software. Problems with the brain are the result of some physiological or chemical breakdown, things like a stroke, a head injury, cognitive decline. These are a result of the mechanism breaking down. Problems with the mind are a result of our software, and usually related to our thoughts, beliefs, and emotions. Basically, we're either sending the wrong information to our brains, or the results the brain is giving us aren't being properly decoded. Mindfulness practices are all about getting your software tuned up to make sure that your hardware can work efficiently. Now, there are a variety of tools that we can use to reboot our system, but the most effective one is also the simplest. Just breathe. Breathing is a fascinating subject to me. If you think about our most essential biological processes, our circulation, respiration, and digestion, they're part of a holistic system. And if one of these systems is out of whack, it affects the entire body. And these systems all run on autopilot through something called the autonomic nervous system. So you don't have to tell your body to circulate blood or to digest that slice of pizza you just had. It's all done automatically. And the fact is, you can't directly control those functions through the use of your conscious mind. They're basically outside of your jurisdiction. But you might have noticed that I didn't mention the respiratory process in that example. Why? Because even though your breathing is controlled by the autonomic nervous system, it can also be consciously controlled. And the cool thing about that is this. Because your body is a holistic system, a change in one area creates a change in all of the others. Now, sometimes the change is small, sometimes it's really noticeable. And sometimes the change is for the better, but it can also be for the worse. But the thing to keep in mind, though, is that when we consciously change our breath, we create a trickle-down effect through the remaining systems. So while you can't directly tell your blood pressure to go down, since it's a function of your circulatory system, you can affect it by changing how you breathe. So here's the first exercise that I want you to try. All right. What I want you to do is to take a deep breath. Now, don't do this like you're at the doctor's office. That's a forced breath. What I want you to do is take a deep but natural breath. And here's the way we're going to go about it. See, everybody has something that they absolutely love the smell of. Maybe it's the scent of a certain flower. Maybe it's the smell of fresh cut grass or an ocean breeze. For me, it's the smell of fresh baked bread. Right? So whatever it is, I want you to close your eyes and imagine that you're standing in sniffing range and take a nice big whiff. Take in as much as you can and then let it out. Okay, let's try that together a few times. But before we do this, I do want to warn you that if you aren't used to deep breathing, you may start to feel a little dizzy. So if that happens during any of our exercises, just stop and go back to your normal way of breathing. Okay? Here we go. Breathe in. Now let it out. And again, breathe in. And let it go. One more time. Breathe in nice and deep. Now relax and let it go. All right, awesome. How do you feel? Do you feel a little more relaxed, maybe even a little more focused? Right? That's the power of mindfulness at work. And you do realize that we didn't have to cross our legs and burn incense or chant or do any of that kind of stuff. Right? We simply needed to become aware of our breathing. And we're able to create a change in your state of mind in only a matter of seconds. Now, let's see what we can do to make this process work even a little bit better. Right? The first thing I want you to do is to put one hand just below your belly button and the other hand in your lower back. Right? You can do the standing up or seated, it doesn't really matter. And what I want you to imagine is your abdomen is like a balloon. And when you're inhaling, you're going to fill that balloon with air. Okay? And like any balloon, the more air that comes in, the more the balloon is going to expand. Right? So you want to try and feel your abdomen and your lower back expanding at the same time so that the space between your two hands increases when you inhale and decreases when you exhale. Right? So let's just try a single breath just to get the feel. Right? Remember, focus on the abdomen expanding on the inhale, deflating on the exhale. Ready? Here we go. Inhale and expand. Exhale and deflate. Great. Now, let's put these mechanics together with our first exercise. And so we want to remember that smell. And we're going to breathe it in and let the scent fill your body. So here we go. Deep breath in. Now let it go. And again, taking a deep breath in, fill up like a balloon. Now slowly let it go. You can even open your mouth slightly as the air smoothly escapes. Let's do 2 more. Inhaling deep. Exhaling slow. And last one. Inhale. Exhale. Great. Now, how do you feel? Right. So what we've done is we have a very quick and easy way to tap into the power of mindfulness. And once you get the hang of this method of breathing, you don't need to use your hands as a reminder of how to breathe. You will have developed an awareness of how deep breathing feels, and you'll be able to switch over to it anytime you feel stressed out or in a funk, so that you can bring yourself back to a calm and balanced state of mind. And this will allow you to do a reset anywhere and at any time. But don't let the fact that this exercise is so simple fool you. Understanding and managing your breath is the foundation skill for all mindfulness techniques. This is literally the key that unlocks the door to your ability to consciously direct your autonomic nervous system. So if you're looking for ways to change the way you think and feel, this is the first skill that you need to master. Okay? So thank you for spending some time with me today. And I hope you'll be joining me next week for more ways to master your mindful mindset. If you have a question or a topic that you'd like for me to cover in a future episode, just drop it in the comments section and I'll do my best to help you out. So until next time, remember, it is what it is, but it becomes what you make of it. So make it great. Mastering the Mindful Mindset is part of the Candy Factory mini-series and is a proud member of the Candy Factory Collective. You can find the show streaming on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, LinkedIn, and you can subscribe to the audio version anywhere you get your podcast.
José Johnson has traveled the world competing and teaching martial arts.
He's an entrepreneur, musician, author, and speaker.
Check out Jose's other podcast,
The Trumpet Gurus Hang.
And learn more about his book,
Mindfulness Secrets, at his website,
JoséJohnson.com.
Mastering the Mindful Mindset is produced by the Candy Factory Collective.
at the Candy Factory Co-working Campus in Lancaster, PA.
Our music was written and recorded by José. Production support by Anna Tran.
Administrative support by Ann Kirby, Ariana Henderson.
Krisha Martzel, Jason Mundock, and Robert Diggs.
Notes and links can be found at the show post at our website,
CandyFactoryCollective.com.
Candy Factory.
Collective.